pissed, man, with the way the NFL is going right now with these replacement referees, as it was an absolute embarrassment what transpired on the football field tonight as the Green Bay Packers were straight up screwed out of a victory, handing it over to the Seattle Seahawks. It is Chad here with BetHubb.com. As you guys can tell, extremely worked up, as I'm sure most of you guys are, because you're getting sick and tired of the ineptitude displayed by these replacement referees. And it was only a matter of time until they screwed things up on a national stage where it actually cost a team a victory that it would have society even more worked up than they were prior to this evening's game. I don't even know where to begin here, so that's why I've decided to actually develop a nice little list here of points that I'll be going through and absolutely ripping apart what is wrong with the league right now. First of all, the play itself, you have to be an absolute moron of a referee to be standing there and not see the blatant pass interference by Golden Tate, pushing right off on him to even have the space to get that football because there are 5 Packer defenders surrounding him. Go look back on the replay at that goofball referee that was looking up into the sky and not even paying attention, probably thinking about how he had to get back to whatever little state he's in to go make his $28,000 annual salary teaching the periodic table in Chemistry 10, because that's the amount of what these referee replacements are, and it's completely inexcusable, and at some point you can't even blame them because they're clearly not trained and qualified for this job, and all that blame goes on Roger Goodell, who we'll get to in the meat of this rant. But for now, what I don't understand here is the fact that they blatantly missed that offensive pass interference. And better yet, it was so clear as day, and you can watch on the replay, I will put it on the website, that Tim Jennings had possession of the football and his back was on the ground, therefore he is down by contact. The only way Golden Tate got the football was he physically ripped it out of his hands after the fact. And the fact that only one referee on the field called it a touchdown and everybody else was standing there left looking like they had no idea what was going on proves even more so that there's absolutely zero communication between these refs. They're not on the same page and there's no cohesion whatsoever, and it is strictly a guessing game. And what's even more embarrassing about all this is the fact that there is video replay and it goes to that extent and they still get the play wrong. Can someone please explain to me what is the point of having video replay if they constantly cannot figure it out when they have the chance to watch it there? And what's even more disgusting is the fact that the people in video replay are actually Roger Goodell's employees from the past. These are referees that had these jobs in years past. These are not the on-field referees. What are they watching? Why are these guys so pathetic at their job? It is absolutely appalling. And then the fact that now I'm getting all these comments on Twitter, people saying, well, they can't overturn the non-offensive pass interference on the field. What kind of bullshit rule is that? But you're allowed to challenge the spot of the ball. You're allowed to challenge all these little ticky-tacky things. But when it comes to a game on the line, nope, you can't challenge offensive pass interference. The same bullshit in the Baltimore-New England football game last night. I'm not saying that field goal didn't go in, but why are you not allowed to have a play reviewed when the field goal goes from over top versus underneath? Every scoring play, regardless of what little rules are taking place, should be reviewed to the fullest possible extent that they can if you're going to go into instituting this rule. What drives me nuts is the fact that the NFL tries to make things better. They change rules all the time. They have these big meetings, yet they still lack so much logic. Oh, does it drive me absolutely nuts. And when you just look at what's going on throughout that entire game, and it wasn't just today's game, it's been throughout the first 3 weeks, just the wimpiness of the flags that are immediately called out. That pass interference call on the Green Bay defender prior to them having the chance there to score was just an absolute joke. He didn't even touch him. And it went both ways in the game. There was an equally pathetic pass interference call that was called on Seattle on Green Bay's drive that resulted in their touchdown before. These roughing the passer penalties. I remember there was one play, Wilson, who was outside of the pocket. He got nicked in the ankle and he went down. The flag comes out. It's enough. These guys, like Ray Lewis said, football is getting hit, man. And when they're getting hit, what do they expect these defensive guys to do? Lunge out of the way so they don't hurt somebody on the field? It is just so soft and so pathetic the way these referees, and it even goes back to the real refs last year, trained to just immediately get flag happy instead of letting the guys play. Oh, does it drive me nuts. Okay, so we move down the list here. What else drives me nuts is the fact that now the referees are the sorry, let me catch my breath here. The coaches actually get big time fines for ripping the referees after the fact. So you look at someone like McCarthy today, a little bit more of a classier guy. He refuses to comment on it. He even sends the guys out for the point after when it didn't matter. If I was in his shoes, I'd say, fuck you, Godell. We're not going out for the point after. Find the organization what you want. I mean, what do you want these coaches to do? Keep their mouth shut to protect you, Roger Goodell, when you're at fault for being cheap in an industry that generates $2.4 billion, and you don't want to give these guys pension plans because you don't think it's fair because they're part-time employees? It's unbelievable. I've ranted on this before, and I'll reiterate my point very briefly here. This is not your standard industry. This isn't your normal corporation where usually it requires full-time employees in order to get a pension plan. Just give them what they want. Stop being so cheap because you're screwing over this league. And I don't want to hear the examples of the fact that the old referees made mistakes, because obviously they did. We can even point back to the Ed Hockley error that cost San Diego that game against Denver. Or you can even go back to the referee that admitted he screwed over the Seahawks against the Steelers in the Super Bowl. Well, for every one of those screw-ups that are happening, it's happening 10 times more often than what we're seeing here with these referees that are the replacements. Go ahead and look at how Tennessee got an extra 12 yards out of play, and they reviewed it. How do you review a play and still get that wrong? You got referees throwing their hat because they don't even know what's going on, and a Dallas player almost trips over it. It's just, and giving Harbaugh extra timeouts. It's like these guys don't even know the rules. They're not qualified for the job. Now, I know it's not the greatest analogy because I can't think of any others right now, but it would be like telling a general practitioner, oh, you know what? If the open heart surgeons were all in a union and they were striking, then we'll just go and let you do the surgery. No, you can't. They're not qualified. And obviously someone's heart is just a little bit more important than football. But nonetheless, it's the same concept of someone being completely underqualified going into a spot that they should never be in the first place, and they're just overwhelmed and it's just not going to work out. When you think about it, if there's any way that these referees are going to be corrupt, there's a strong possibility because of how little they actually get paid. I mean, think about it. For the amount of wagering that goes on in the NFL, if you can buy out a ref, you can pay them more in one game to throw things in your direction than probably their entire annual salary from what the NFL is giving them this year, plus whatever other job they work outside of it. It's just unbelievable that Goodell, A, never went and tried to get better replacement officials from another league, or B, at least take the time out to get these guys more up, in tune with what the actual rules are. That's what's just sickening about all this. And it's just unbelievable the way he'll never admit that it's his mistake, and the owners being cheap about it because all they give a shit about is money. If anything, they enjoy it. The games take longer. They get a few more commercial ads put in. It's just, the whole thing makes me sick. And at the end of the day, nothing will change here because we, as the fans, are the ones that continue to put our eyes on those television sets, and that's what generates the revenue, and that's all they care about. And the only way for this madness to end is if we all stopped watching the games and they saw ratings dip, and it forced them to think, why are the ratings going down? Maybe the fans are rebelling against this pathetic refereeing that is ruining the integrity and has already cost the team a victory this year. And you know what, at this point, I hope they continue to screw up just so the point gets driven through even more so. Chad here with BetHubb.com, absolutely losing my mind. At the end of the day, I didn't even have money on the side in this, and you guys see how worked up I'm getting. I just cared that much about the games being called the way they should be. I cashed an easy ticket on the under here, but it tears my heart to see a team work as hard as they do for 59 minutes and 55 seconds to get absolutely screwed in this fashion here. And of course, Goodell won't answer to it. He won't allow these referees to speak to the media. Why are there sanctions in the league where coaches and players have to answer questions to the media because supposedly the fans and the media want to know about it, but not the referees? They can just run for the hills and nothing happens to them. You know what? The other day I thought maybe it was a little out of hand when Belichick grabbed that referee, or Kyle Shanahan berated the other referee and had a couple four-letter words. But as far as I'm concerned, keep giving it to them, because you know what? Maybe they're going to quit one day, and then Goodell can actually go down there and officiate the games himself, because he probably thinks, it doesn't really matter. The fans keep watching, and then I can have my rules in place all the time, and we can just have flags after every play. Pathetic, disgusting. NFL, you are just an absolute shambles right now, and I don't even know what else it's going to take for them to wake up and